In this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to find factors and factor pairs of numbers. Sounds complicated, it really isn't. Basically what we're doing when we're finding factors is we're finding all the numbers that can divide into a number. That's what factors are. All the numbers that can divide into a number. Let's start with the number 95. We're now going to use our divisibility rules that we've learned in our previous couple of lessons and find our factors. The first thing we need to remember as well is that every time we find a number, it always has a buddy. So this is a good way to check to make sure that we find all of them. Now the number 1 goes into everything. So automatically we can write down that the number 1 goes into 95. Now what would the factor buddy be for the number 1? How many times does 1 go into 95? Well, in other words, what times 1 gives us 95? The answer would be, obviously, 95. So 1 has the factor buddy of 95. So 95 also goes in. Now let's ask ourselves the question. Let's go to the number 2. Can the number 2 go equally into 95? Well, what's the rule again for the number 2? 95 has to be even. Is 95 even? Does it end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? The answer is no, it ends in 5, so 2 does not go in, so we're going to leave 2. What about 3? Does 3 work? Well, what's the rule for 3 again? Add the digits up and see if 3 goes in. If we go 9 plus 5, we get 14. Does 3 go equally into 14? No, it doesn't, so 3 doesn't work. What's the rule for 4 now? 4 into the last 2 digits of a number? We only have 2 digits here, so we just have to divide and check. And the answer is no, it doesn't go in. What about 5? Does 5 work? And the rule for 5 again was if the digit ends in 0 or 5. And yes, this 95 ends with the number 5, so 5 will go in. Well, how many times does 5 go in? That would be its factor buddy. And using a calculator, we would determine that the answer is 19. So the factor buddy of 5 is 19. 5 times 19 gets me the answer. Are there any more? The rule for 6 was if the number is divisible by 2 and 3. Well, we already figured out that both 2 and 3 don't go in. So obviously then 6 will not work. 7, we just have to divide. There is no rule for 7, and the answer is no, 7 does not go equally into 95. What about 8? Well, usually, again, the rule for 8 is if 8 can go into the last 3 digits. We actually only have 2 digits here, so we would just divide and check, and the answer is no, again, it doesn't work. What about 9? Can we add these digits together and see if 9 goes in? Well, again, 9 plus 5 is 14. Can 9 go into 14 equally? The answer is no. So 9 doesn't work. What about 10? Well, the rule for 10 was if the number ends in a 0. Does this number end in a 0? 95. The answer is no. So 10 doesn't work. So the only factors using our divisibility rules that we have are 1, 5, 19, and 95. We have found all the factors of the number 95, all the numbers that can divide equally into it. And again, the way we can check is to make sure that every number has a buddy. 1 times 95 is 95, 5 times 19 is 95. This will work every single time. Sometimes if you're using really large numbers, you may have to do some more division, just using a calculator to figure out if there's somewhere in the middle. But most of the time we can just use our divisibility rules to solve these questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and please do ask because I want you to have success. And you now know how to find factors and factor pairs. In other words, factor buddies.